to Wicomico County Library's summer reading program, Tales and Tales. This program is a video tutorial for the Take and Make kits for the beaded animal craft. My name is Miss Vicky, and I'm going to walk you through it. Some of you may have adults in your life that have experienced and done these things, these particular crafts, a lot, like me. And if they have, great, you have an extra person that can help you. The video tutorial also may be good to jog their memory if they can't remember exactly how it was done, like me. So, in each kit, you will have enough beads for 2 out of the 3 creatures. And each kit is going to be randomized. We're going to just hand them out, and you're going to get one of 3 different versions. We're going to have wriggling reptiles. There's also one for awesome ocean life and marvelous mammals. And each one's going to have 3 different creatures. You can choose to make 2 of them, and then show them off to your friends. Or if you'd like, you can even go get more beads and more key rings and make more of them, because there's a lot of patterns out there on the internet, I promise. So today we're going to work, or this time we're going to work on reptiles. In each kit you should have received an adequate amount of GIMP cord. It's because we were banded together. It's all one length usually, and you'll need to cut it down with measured out with a yardstick and scissors. It also will have some key rings. It should have 2 key rings, so one for each of your critters. They're not super exciting, but if you have a key ring at home you'd rather use, you're welcome to. It also comes with a good amount of beads. Some black ones and mostly green. Black ones for the eyeballs, because that's important. I also recommend from home a bowl, at least one, because they will roll everywhere and then you'll be chasing them and you'll lose them and then you won't be able to finish your project. You'll need a pair of scissors. They could be just simple craft scissors, just the plastic ones with a metal blade is fine, as long as they cut through the cord. You'll also need a ruler, or in my case, a yardstick. Because the cordage in the pattern is measured out by yards, you'll just need to take a ruler and measure it 3 times to make the yard, because there are 3 feet in a yard. I just like my yardstick because it unfolds. So, as we go, first thing you want to do is empty out your beads into a bowl or into a very careful pile if you don't have a bowl available. I'm going to go through and show you 3 different animals that you can do with this kit. The first one I'll show you is the gecko. He is a little lizard and he is absolutely adorable. The second one I'll show you is Leaps the frog. He is a little froggy, and we'll go a little closer up and I'll show it to you each time I do him. Little frog, he's really cute. And my favorite of the kit is Coils the snake, because he's huge. Just so you know, if you make Coils the snake, you may only have enough beads to make the gecko as well, because you may not have enough beads for the snake and the frog, because the snake is just so massive. If you do want to do all 3, you are able to go and easily and inexpensively pick up beads and GIMP cord and key rings from your local craft store. I got this at Walmart and Hobby Lobby locally. So those are absolutely easy enough. You'll also want to get some GIMP cord. I picked up a pack here. This was a couple bucks, then not too expensive. And just a pack of key rings you get in the jewelry section, jewelry making or crafting section. So they're not hard to find if you wanted to continue or do more of them. Like I said, the internet is chock full of patterns for various animals and things that you can do, so the sky is the limit, essentially. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in, and we're going to do each individual animal close up so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Some of the parts are a little fiddly. In the reptiles, it's not too bad. Some of the ocean life and the mammals get a little fiddly, so it takes a little bit of coordination, but I'll still show you how to do all of these. Again, thank you for tuning in and thank you for watching. Just a side note, in case your internet decides to buffer or YouTube decides to have a fit, each kit will also come wrapped in picture instructions with pictures and written instructions, so you can follow along. We just feel like a video may be a little easier to follow. All right, we'll be right back. All right, let's get started on our next animal. This is going to be Leaps the frog. Leaps the frog, if we can get this to focus today. Leaps the frog is 3.5 yards of cord and 124 beads. Just like with the gecko, you can use any combination of the green beads that you feel like, whatever works for you. Let's do a quick little talk about the patterning. When you get your kit, you're gonna have the pattern for all 3 of the animals. And it's gonna start at the top. Maybe it works better if I flip it over for you, huh? And it's gonna show you which direction the cords are gonna go. This can be a little tricky at first, but watch me as I work the video, and you hopefully can figure out how to interpret the various cord pattern. So it's 3.5 yards of cord. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the yardstick or ruler, and 3.5 is going to be, 3.5 yards is going to be about 10.5 feet. Or no, yeah, 10.5 feet. Math. So we got 1, 2, 3, half of that's 18. So, and like I said, it doesn't have to be super exact because as we discovered with the gecko, they usually give you more than you need. It's always better to have more than you need, but not enough. Running out of beads is terrible. Or running out of yards of cord is not great. Okay. No more yardstick for now. No more scissors for now. All we have is cord. So, just like in the gecko, and if you skip forward 2 leaps, we'll go ahead and do this again. To get your beaded animal started, you're going to take the ends of your cord and bring them about so they're together, so they're halfway. And when you go to the other end, all the way, 3.5 yards, you should be left with a loop like that. So, going to put our little clippy on there to hold it steady. You can put this on a cardboard box. You can hang it on the wall. You can have a sibling or a friend hold it, although I don't recommend. It's kind of boring. Sometimes you can tape it to the wall. You can tie it with a string to your bedpost, whatever works for you, however you can anchor it. But the important thing is to anchor it so you can get some tension. All right, so you can just let the rest of the cord kind of hang off to the side. Go ahead and separate it into 2. So with our frog, it looks like you're starting off and actually going 2 different directions right away. And we need 3 beads on each side, so I'm gonna get 3 beads. Let's see, we're gonna go with just the straight green one for now. Wait, this is his eyes, so let's do them with sparklies. You may not have sparklies in yours, but you should have some sparklies, because they're the best. So, we have 3 and 3. If you look at your pattern, you have the cord going through 3 beads at the top. And then it comes around and goes through 2 more. And one of them is actually the eye. So what you want to do is string it so that the eye, and if you're looking at your pattern along with me, you'll see the eye is a slightly different shade. And that's where his eyeball is supposed to be. And then it has 1, then it has 1 more sparkly bead here before coming back up into the top. 3 beads. Do the top 3 beads here. Can you see what I'm doing? Okay. Top 3, and this does get a little fiddly. Okay. And you're still going to go through these 2 as well. So you're going to go through the 5 beads, okay. So you're kind of doing a little loop-de-loop, but you're going to leave out that 3rd bead entirely. So when you pull this through, it's going to look a little backwards, but don't worry, it'll level it, it'll even itself out. You just pull it up so it's snug. And that's why having this anchored is so important. Okay, so you want to make sure you get those beads all the way. So this one right here that you see is actually going to keep it spaced so that it holds it up. Okay, so now that side is done. Yes. Now we're going to go to the other side. So again, we started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sparkly beads and 1 green. So we need 2 more sparkly beads. And again, we're going to go on the other side, which looks like it's on this side now, but don't worry, it'll work out. And you can, sometimes they're going to get a little loose and you can always tug and straighten them out later, and that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like the other side, 1 and 2, and that's going to be our 1 gap. So you're going to pull it up, and then you're going to pull it back around, and then go back and loop through from the inside. These 5 beads just through the eye. Oh, I just missed. It does take a little bit of practice. The great thing is you can always just pull the beads off and start again. That's totally a possibility. Totally a possibility to do. Oh, look what I just did. I just pulled it halfway down there. I just pulled it halfway down. There we go. Okay, so that's going this way. This is going this way. Now, there we have his 2 eyeballs. So now it says we need to take 2 beads. So we'll just do 2 of the regular beads. And we're going to join them. This is where we're going to start joining the cords. So I'm going to put it through here. Then take the other cord and from the other direction. What are you doing? Stop flipping over. Sometimes you gotta talk to your beaded friends here and make them behave themselves. Alright. Get this all straightened out here. Here we go. Hey, what are you doing? Alright, here we go. So now, we've got him, the 2 sides joined. And then what it has you do is actually, when you go through and continue this, the cord that goes this direction needs to go through these 2 bottom beads. It's going to help them lay the right direction. And then the one that goes this direction through those 2 needs to go through the bottom. These 2. So if you're following along on your instructions that you get with your kit, you should be able to see what I'm talking about. All right, there we go. So now we have the little top of his eyeballs. They go bloop. If you've ever seen, it'll look like that. You'll figure it out. It'll come together. Okay. So the next row is 6 beads. So let's see, what kind of pattern can we do? And of course, this is completely up to you. You can do whatever pattern you like. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with 4 plain beads and 2 sparkly beads. So we're gonna do this just like we did with the gecko, and then just in case you skipped forward, we'll go ahead through it again. When you're to the portion of the program, which is pretty much most of the rest of it, you're going to slide the beads on in whatever order you'd like to create whatever pattern works for you. Again, this is completely up to your own creativity. No 2 animals are going to be the same, just like no 2 animals in nature are the same. You're going to run it through one direction, and then take the other cord and run it through the other direction. And sometimes it gets a little fiddly, and you just gotta work it through. There we are. Once you get the other end, you can pull it through. And this pattern starts out a little complicated and then gets easy, so it's actually, if you get that first part done, that's the hardest bit. Now we're working on his head. Because remember, he's gonna look like this when he's done. Just like that. So it's the eyeballs and the arms are the most difficult things. So then the next row is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beads. So keep with our pattern. And I want to keep this sparkly as a line, just because that's how I like to. Oh no, that's a broken one. We don't need that. So I'm going to keep these 2. Actually, I'll make it 3. So if we do 3 sparklies and then 2 on either side for the... Again, you can make zigzags, you can make lightning bolts, you can do whatever tickles your fancy. So sometimes I talk through, these are not exactly how you're supposed to do it. There's no wrong way to make the pattern. Heck, you could even go get neon colored beads and make it a neon colored frog. Oddly enough, in nature, neon colored frogs exist. And they exist because they warn other animals that may try to eat them that they are poisonous. So if you see a brightly colored frog, they're probably not great to play with because they're probably poisonous, either to touch or to eat, which you probably shouldn't do anyway. Unless you're eating something that's been prepared by someone who knows what they're doing. So, just like I did with the gecko, I am going to pass the time while I do the oh so exciting portion of just stringing beads by talking about some fun facts about frogs that I've learned, and I think you might be interested to know too. Did you know that there are over 5,000 known species in the world of frogs? And that frogs have croaks or calls, like a frog croak, ribbit, ribbit. They are unique to each species. So no 2 species, different species, have the same call because that's how they know each other in the wild. And that some frog calls, like bullfrogs and things like the tree frogs, you can hear up to a mile away. That's a really, really long way away that you can hear. Frogs can jump up to 20 times their own height. That would be like a person jumping 30 meters. That's a lot. That's like 120 feet or something like that. Just straight up from the ground. And if you can't do that, you can see how amazing frogs are. Frogs are pretty cool. Frogs are actually not reptiles. They are something called an amphibian. Amphibians, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Always double and triple count. It's very important. Amphibians are called amphibians because they are basically born in the water and they live on land. Amphibians basically means they can live in 2 different places. So they'll lay eggs in water, and the eggs will hatch and live as tadpoles in the water. And when they get old enough, they grow legs and they lose their tails, and they lose their gills, and they are able to breathe air and live on land. And then they will lay their own eggs in the water as well. And they can also breathe through their skin and drink water through their skin, which is really cool too. All right, this is the last row of 7, because we have 3 rows of 7. And then we're going to start on his hands. And they get a little bit, finicky as well. So we'll walk through those too. And come on. Now, with these guys, they're going to be the same on either side. So if you don't catch something on the first pass, you can maybe catch it on the second. And then I could just send like I said in the gecko, if you find that it's getting a little loose, you can always pull it snug as you go. You don't want to pull it too tight or else he gets a little bit wonky. So, on the arms, if you look at your pattern, let me see if I can get a little closer for you. Okay. Where is he? Right here. The camera's backwards. You're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 beads to go. And the best thing to do is actually to string them all on at one time. So 11 beads on one string. And we're going to make his hands clear green, except for his toes. So we'll do 4 of his toes, because you look in the pattern, his toes are the little on the ends. 4 sparkly toes. Where'd you go, Leaps? I moved the pattern on myself. And then you have 1, 2, 6 more that are just plain green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1 more for the arm. So, how we'll count this is we'll do all of them except for, yes, all of them except for the sparkles, because the toes are on the very end, I believe, if I'm doing my math correctly. I have done this before, but sometimes you forget things. All right, so here's how you start. You're gonna bend your arm like this. So to make your little feeties, let me move that better in frame, okay. You're actually going to go loop it through these two here. And if you're following the pattern, you'll see how this is supposed to go, but I'm gonna show it to you on camera so you can, oh, don't go through three. So you're gonna pull it through that one, those two, and then fold it back again. Okay, you're kind of like accordining this down like an accordion, or like your paper folding a fan. And you pull this through like so, and you can see how his hands are taking shape. And then one more time, I flip him over like this, and you kind of can make it so that his arm's facing upwards. And then instead of running it through those bottom two, you actually run it through this extra third one right here. And his arm's gonna flop, and that's normal. But if you do it this way, when you set him flat, his arm will lay flat. And of course, like you do, you wanna snug it down so that it stays. Oh, get back on there. Okay, so that's one arm done. See, that wasn't so bad. And the string is going this direction, ready to go for the next row of beads. So now, rinse and repeat. You need 1, 2, 3, 7 regular, oops, you don't belong in here. 7 of the regular beads, or 7 of whichever bead you choose, because again, this is totally up to you. And the ones on the end go last. So 1, 2, I gotta make sure I stay in frame. 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. And now we have, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, all the way down. And once again, going to do our arm. Now, we'll do this again at the feet. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they are exactly the same, just facing the other direction. Let's see, make sure he's in the, okay. So then we're gonna go, remember, you're gonna come in the opposite direction because we're gonna fold it. And we're coming through the opposite direction, back in. Just make sure you don't catch the toes. Don't catch his toes. Okay. So now we've made his feet. And we're going to fold it over, just like last time. Come on. And we're gonna find 2 more. The next 2. Come on. And this can be a little tricky, and that's okay. You can try as many times as you need to. There we go. I win. Okay. And now we're going to fold it again. And again, try to make sure when you do lace it and put it through, that you are lining it up so it faces upwards, or else you are fighting a losing battle against the gimp. So then we're going to go through that one. You see what I'm doing? Got that one bead. Right here. No, not through that one, just the one. There we go. So then, when you pull it snug, you'll have 2 arms. There we go. You got the frog done. The arm's done. So now, we're going to go through the rest of the body. And the body starts with a row of 7, and then it goes up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 3 rows of 9. So 1 more row of 7 and 3 rows of 9. Another fun fact about frogs that I found was that frogs actually take really good care of their young. So a lot of your reptilian species, like snakes and things like that, they lay their eggs and then they're on their own. Whereas frogs, a lot of frog parents take really good care of their eggs. They make sure there's enough water and they make sure there's enough food. It's kind of really good parents. The largest frog that has ever been discovered, now this is of course yet, is the Goliath frog from West Africa. And that frog can get up to 15 inches long and weigh 7 pounds, which is pretty big. He definitely can't hide very well, but I don't think he has to, do you? Come on. Try to get fancy and put it through all 7 at one time without spreading them out, and it gets a little like, haha, no, you're not being fancy. You're not going to be fancy today. There we go. All right, there's 7. So the next row is 9. We'll maintain our row of 3 down the middle. At least, I am. You can do whatever you want. Which means I will put 3 and 3, because it's 3 sets of 3. 3 times 3 is 9, all day long. The smallest frog ever recorded, yet, of course, is the Cuban tree toad. And it is only 1/2 an inch long. That's pretty small. Wonder how they found it. Frogs in captivity can live for up to 20 years. So that's a long time. In the wild, they're not sure because obviously they have a hard time tracking them when they're really good at hiding. But in captivity, they've noticed that frogs can be they can live for a pretty long time. Frogs have excellent night vision. They're really good at hunting in the dark. And if you notice the way the eyes are shaped, they're all bulgy a lot of times. And that is actually so they can see in front, to the side, and partially behind themselves, which gives them a really good idea of predators that may be around. And for hunting too. So that was a 9, so we need 2 more rows of 9, okay. I always double and triple check because, you don't want to get halfway through and realize you missed a row. Or you miscounted, because I've done that. Alright, keeping our pattern of 3, 3, and 3. Come back here, you. Let's see. If you have any really interesting frog facts that you want to share, feel free to comment on our YouTube video or on the Facebook page. We'd really love to learn more stuff about tree frogs and frogs in general. Sometimes people keep frogs as pets, and they're pretty cool. And they eat bugs, mostly, so they're carnivores. Oops, missed one. Don't do that. Don't do what I just did. It's gonna look really wonky. If you get one twisted like that, all you gotta do is twist it and hold the other side and kind of pull it and wiggle it in place. And now we're making his belly, if you can see, because we went from 7 to 9, and now we have his belly forming. Look at him, he's so cute. 1 more row of 9. There's 3, 3, and 3. It seems like 124 bees is a lot, but it's really not. It's really not that much, because bees are so tiny. Rinse and repeat. We're going to run 1 more row of 9 beads here. And sometimes you got to push them down, make sure they're laying flat. It's one nice thing about working on the table versus hanging it on the wall, like I did when I was doing a lot of my practice ones. I hung them, and I noticed that if you hang them and leave them suspended, which you can do, you have to really watch your tension, because the chances of you pulling it too tight, you really can't tell if they're going to lay flat. If you're on a tabletop like this, you can see exactly how they're going to lay. He's so cute. Your arm's like sitting there popping up, but that's okay. It'll be fine. This is fine. gonna run through one more row of 9, and then the next row we're gonna start on our feet, which is gonna be very just like our hands, and that way we'll get an extra practice run through, and you can see it one more time how to do this one, because it's a bit tricky. It takes a little bit of practice. It took me a couple tries to get the feet right when I first did this one. And don't worry, your kit will come with a much larger and more clear picture than what I have in front of you today. So you can follow it a little easier than what I was showing you. So, and of course, if you get your kit and you're missing some pieces, or you're missing the instructions, or you're unclear on something, you can always call the center branch, and someone may be able to help you out and either get you what you're missing. All right, again with a 4, and then 6, 7. Yes, 7. If you're missing a piece, we can always get it. If you need extra beads, you are welcome to. If we have extras, we'll definitely let you have them. If we don't have any extras, because some of them are running a little short on, you may have to go to the hobby store, either Walmart, Michael's, or Hobby Lobby, and get your beads. They're not super expensive. In fact, the cheapest place I found was Hobby Lobby. You can get 500 of them for like $2, so it's not too bad. All right, now we're gonna do the feet again. Remember, we're gonna roll it over, kind of fold it over, and then just find those first 2 beads and run through the opposite direction, making sure not to catch any of the toes, because that would be bad. Pull it all the way through. It gets a little easier at this point because you're now to the point where you don't have a whole lot of cord left, so you don't have to pull through 5 layers or 5 yards of cord. Or I guess it's only 3.5 in the first place, but still. Did I put enough beads on here? Oh, I did. Okay. I missed one. So run through 2 more, again from the other side. And what this does is just stacks them on top of each other, which is a nice look. There we go. Oh, no, back in the boat. There we go. So now we are having them going downward, which actually is easier. I'm gonna kind of zhuzh them over and go through this this third bead, because those 2 are already where they need to be. Come on, there we go. So now we can just kind of flip that around. Come on, there we go. Now we have our foot, 1 foot, and of course this cord is now going the right direction, which is this direction. So we'll put that down there. Now, 7 more, and then 4 toes. So the bowl is super handy. I definitely recommend it, unless you knock it over like I almost did, which is not great. Okay. So we'll put on our 7 plain beads. Nice that this gimp cord it's nice and stiff, so you can just kind of poke it through the bowl beads as you have them in your hand. It actually makes it pretty easy. Here we go. And again, you might need to get a grown-up's help if you have trouble with some of your threading and lacing, and that's okay, but this is also a really great exercise to practice. Hold up, I'm missing a bead. 1, 2, 3. I'm missing a sparkly bead. He was only gonna have 3 toes. That would be terrible. It's probably on the floor somewhere. Okay, we fold it over, back through. Come on. Oh, I was trying to go through his toes. Okay, that's 1. And again, it's always easier to have them up against the rest of the frog. That way, it's not quite as, you don't have to do as much, you don't have to do as much moving around later. Okay, so here he is, there's his toes and his leg, and then we're gonna flip him over one more time, go through that 3rd bead, so that we're going the right direction. We want to try to aim it for the bottom, but sometimes it just doesn't happen, and that's okay. And straighten that out. Okay, get back. There we go. There we are. And now we have 2 arms and 2 legs. And you are twisted and I don't like that. Again, sometimes you gotta... There we go. There we are. You don't have to worry about it being twisted, but I like them all to be flat, so that's just me. Alright, so now we have his legs done. The next one is just a row of 5, and then we're done. We're going to give him a sparkly behind, just because I think that sounds like fun. Whee! And again, like you said, they give you plenty of extra cord. So if you feel like you're not quite to 3.5, say you only have like 3.25 yards or 10 feet, just roll with it. It's fine. You might be a little bit tight on the end, but it'll be fine. You'll be alright. So we got a sparkly butt. Now we gotta line it up. And then you just do an overhand knot, just like we did with the gecko. Overhand knot. Now what you could do to make this a little less awkward is you can actually take your cord and just run it back through the middle one, right? And then take the other side and run it back the other direction through the middle bead. Because I find that when you're trying to tie it off over 5 beads, it tends to get a little bit wonky. So we just flatten this out. I said flatten out, please. This has already got like 4 pieces of cord through it, so it's going to be a little difficult. Okay. So do some little snuggy magic. There we go. And that looks a little bit better. It's a little easier. Kind of gives him a bit of a tail. Almost another row of beads. So now, when we tie him off, it's not an overhand knot going around 5 beads. So there's one, and then just tie another knot, because you're kind of making a square knot. Nice and snug, so it doesn't go anywhere. And you want to give about 1.5 inches of space, so that it doesn't fall apart. You don't want your frog to fall apart. And that is Leaps the Frog. We can release him from his confinement here, and he can join his other reptilian buddies. So, if you like that one, you can do that one. Now, like I said at the beginning, with the reptile kit, unfortunately, since the cobra, which is next, takes so many beads, you're very likely not going to be able to do the frog and the cobra. You'll probably end up having to do the gecko and the cobra, which you can do both of those. If you want to do both the frog and the cobra, you can, but you may end up having to buy more beads. Ask your mom. She might, mom or dad, adult in your house, they may have beads from crafting sitting around. It might be a bit of a funny colored frog, but as we learned, those brightly colored frogs usually means they're poisonous. So they exist in nature, and that'll be absolutely fine. All right. Well, next up is going to be the cobra, and then we'll be done with our video tutorial for the wriggling reptiles. Is the end of the wriggling reptiles Take and Make kit video tutorial. Today we learned how to make Coils the snake, we learned how to make Ricky the gecko, and we learned how to make Leaps the frog. I do hope you enjoy this one. I hope you get creative. Make him whatever pattern you like. You can give him whatever name you like too. And if you share this with your friends, like I said, it's really easy to do more of these, and if you go on the internet and search anything bead craft, beaded animal related, you're gonna come up with, I swear, a bazillion search hits with lots of different animals. The other kits are Awesome Ocean Life and Marvelous Mammals, and they will have a video as well if this isn't what you're looking for. Or if you have a friend who got a different kit. This is Vicki. I am signing off for the moment, and I'll see you on the next video.